So here is the Dell Inspiron 545S in service. It looks like it's dead, but it's not. It's actually just in sleep mode. I can wake it up. And there you go. It's there and it works. It's been in service for about a month now or so. I have everything set up on it. Everything is working properly except for one thing, but I developed a workaround for it. Everything is up and running. I have some data that I need to transfer to it, but quite frankly, I knew this was really going to happen because the whiff kind of doesn't really use the machine in here anymore. I don't know if she's still jaded by the fact that the old one was just too shot or whatever the deal was, but she's used this maybe 2 or 3 times since I have redone everything and put this machine here. So that's kind of what I figured was going to happen. It's plenty fast enough for her. It definitely does everything it's supposed to and everything it needs to. It plays YouTube and all kinds of stuff that the old one just couldn't do anymore because it was too slow and too old and stuff like that. She has a couple of legacy games that she would like to see run on it. One runs without a problem. The other one, not entirely, but there's nothing I can actually do as far as compatibility goes for that, because that game was really developed for, well, Windows 95, and the way DirectX and whatever else it uses has developed over the years means wacky graphics in certain screens, but 95% of the time it runs just fine. So it's been doing everything it needs to do. It goes to sleep, which is real nice because I have it set to. You can tell right now it's pretty damn silent, and that's an excellent thing for a bedroom because this can just sit here and run like that, and it's not disturbing to sleep at all whatsoever. And most times the machine itself is in sleep mode, which means no noise at all whatsoever. Like I said, really just some data to transfer over to it that she's probably never going to get into or look at, but just nice to have that everything's there. And it is kind that it has a RAID in it, so all that's there. Yes, it is decked out with an IBM Model M and a Logitech mouse similar to my iFeel mouse. So that's all good. And yes, you did hear before when I woke it up from sleep, indeed, that is a CRT. I want to show you 2 of the games that she has that are kind of legacy stuff, and I want to show you the one problem that I'm having with it that I developed a workaround for. Sorry about the flicker. It's called CRT. Get used to it. 2 of the games, Hoyle's Classic Games there. I don't remember where I got that from. They're card games. And that does run without any problem. Notice that. That's Wine VDM, pardon. And you pick whatever one you want there, and you do whatever you want. So that has to run under Wine VDM because it is not compatible. I guess it's a 16-bit application. Looks like it's lost focus for some reason. That's a little better-ish. So there's that, and like I said, that window is the Wine VDM program that allows the old programs like that. And I have some really old programs in here, such as this one, the American Heritage Dictionary. I run this on mine too. There's Wine VDM in the background. And here is a dictionary but there's supposed to be a list of words there, but there's not. And that's not really a problem. This is what you get with the emulation like that. I don't know why it doesn't want to stay in focus, and I guess I just got to kind of keep doing this to maybe get it into focus. But for example, if I type in hello, then it populates, and it will also display the definition right there. And this runs under like Windows 3.0. So you got that going for you. And the other program is the Game of Life. It's got a UAC. Well, that did run the other day. I don't know why it's not now. Strange. Okay. I don't know. It did run. I'll work on that. That's not a big deal. But we have the other issue. Let me see if I can move the camera kind of behind me a bit. Maybe it'll work a little better. Yeah, that's a little better there. So what we have here is the desktop, like I was saying, and everything is good. We are connected. This is wired via Ethernet. That was one of the very first Ethernet cables I ran in this house when I moved in. But here's something interesting, and I just need to do one little thing here. First, I have something in the startup folder, and we're going to just move that out of there. Okay? So now if I reboot the machine, and this way you get to see how long it actually takes. Remember, this is running mechanical hard drives, but it is an RAID 1, which doesn't give any better performance or anything. So it's rebooting now. And the RAID, that's all there. And it's starting Windows. Very reasonable. Very reasonable for a system running Windows 7. Here's the Etherwebs connector. It has connection. It has the blue circle, cyan-looking circle, like it's getting a connection, getting an IP address, data protection, blah blah blah. But look, it's got a yellow bang on it, and it says no internet access. Huh. That's strange. So I did all the troubleshooting and stuff like that. So if I go through here, one thing I thought of is, well, maybe there's a driver update that Windows Update did or something. Don't worry about that. That's a webcam that doesn't work under 7, which I know about. I might show that one day in a JK18 Oddware. But here's the network adapter, Realtek PCIe FE family controller. If I hit properties on that and I go over to driver, you'll notice I can click on rollback driver. And it says, you sure you want to roll it back? So I rolled back the driver, but I had exactly the same problem. Each and every single time this machine is booted, whether it's a cold boot or it's a reboot, a warm boot, there is no internet access. I haven't the slightest idea why. This did not manifest when I was replacing the power supply. I never had the network connected because there just plain wasn't a need for that. And I don't remember 13 years ago if it was given trouble then, or if something on the board is spoiling or whatever it is. But if I go over here and I open a command window and I do IP config release and ipconfig, whoops, renew. Just give that a second here, and there we go. We have an IP address and no more yellow bang. So now it works, and I can ping yahoo.com right from the command line, and it's pinging it absolutely no problem, where before it wouldn't do that. So every time the machine boots, I have to issue ipconfig release, ipconfig renew. I have no idea how or why that is. What I can do is move this, which is a batch file, to the startup folder. It's getting there. There it is. So now that should be there in startup. Yeah, IP reset. And that, I think, is just in the root. So okay, I put it somewhere. I don't remember where. Strange, but it's there. It runs. I know it is. Let's see where it is, because I can't remember now for some reason. That's very strange. I thought I put it there. IP. Oh, just IP. So it needed star.bat. There it is. So if I type ip.bat, whoopsie, there we go. ipconfig release renew. There you go. And it doesn't matter if it has finished trying to get a connection or not at all, because each and every time when it reboots, it will automatically run that. So now you'll see that upon a reboot here. And it runs that, and it will get an internet connection. It just takes, I don't know, 10 seconds longer, which is certainly acceptable. And when it's in sleep mode, like it is 99% of the time, that's not even an issue, because we've already released and renewed the IP before. So it still kind of has that in memory, so to speak, and it just kind of works. So now you'll see when this boots up here, it's going to run that. There it is. Windows IP configuration release, and now renew. It's done. Over here, we have the cyan looking thingamajobber going around, doing its thing. Which you would have to wait for anyway. And eventually, it'll come up just fine. There. It had the yellow mark, and then it went away. I don't get it. I haven't the slightest clue why that is occurring with a plain old Realtek, onboard friggin' Ethernet that doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. It's just a Realtek Ethernet. There's a zillion of them out there. So why is it causing a problem? Now, one thing I have not tried is reinstalling the OS, because I had a clean install on here. Maybe something got fooked in there before, 13 years ago. I don't know, but with the workaround, it works. So I haven't the slightest idea why that is occurring. It's very, very mind-boggling, but I can ping Yahoo, and there it is. It's pinging away. No problem, which means we have interwebs connection. And I don't know. I also found I made an error when I originally installed Windows years ago. I called this Hemorrhoid 2, which is a play on my friend Matt's last name. But I spelled it wrong, Hemoryd. And yeah, because my laptop is Hemorrhoid. So this is Hemorrhoid 2, spelled that way because it kind of goes along with the way his real name is spelled. And yeah, so I made an error with that. There's no fixing that now. It's just going to, unless you reinstall, but there's no sense in doing all of that work for nothing. But it's just a very, very, very peculiar thing that it does that. I haven't the slightest idea. But everything else works. I can edit videos here now, which I couldn't do on the previous machine. It's loading. Yeah, it takes longer than on my machine because that's an SSD and this is a mechanical drive. But for the machine itself, it's reasonable. I got this one problem though. You see? It doesn't really fill the screen, and I can't make it fill it properly because it gets cut off. So I can't actually edit videos on this or the CRT in my office unless I up the resolution to 1280 by 1024 instead of 1024 by 768. But yet I can do that. It's perfectly readable, and I can edit videos, and in fact I'm going to edit this one on this very machine because I can, just like I did the one on the in-service of the machine in my office. But what's nice about being able to edit here now is that I can look outside and even have this window open in the nicer weather, which is something I don't have at either of the other two machines where I can edit videos. So that really is a nice thing, and I'm looking forward to that. I don't have a headset on this machine, and for me to put one here, I'd have to buy another one of those hooks that I showed in the in-service update on my machine. And it's $10. It's not a lot of money. It's not a big deal. But still, I'd have to get that, and it'll sit here just for me. Where really, on the off chance that I'm going to want to edit up here, I can just grab my USB headset from downstairs, plug it in here, use it, and bring it back down later, because I'm going to end up going back down anyway. So with a couple of caveats, yes, it does work. That's kind of a nice background. She found it online somewhere or whatever, and that's how she doesn't like the plain Windows one. So that's that. So it's otherwise been working just plain perfectly. And that's a great thing. And like I said, it's super, super, super quiet, which is great for a bedroom. So otherwise, I'm very happy with the quote-unquote upgrades that I did to the machines around here. There is actually one other thing. Hopefully it'll let me show it to you. I got to get the editor launched again, and it doesn't matter if it fills the screen or not. If I go over to transitions, there is one that was in here that is not in the bees anymore. It's called Butterfly Wave Scroller or something. And I usually use that transition for the flashbacks to old videos. And my machine doesn't have that. This machine doesn't have that. And that's because when I first adopted this editor, there was an older version that I had installed first, which was on the video editing machine, and then upgraded to this, which no longer includes it, but it kept it because the old version was on there. This, I just installed the editor recently as my machine in my office as well, and it doesn't have that kind of. I've looked around for the file or for some add-on pack or anything. It's a lost cause. So I do not have that transition unless I go to the main video editing rig. So if I'm going to be doing a flashback to an older video, I have to edit it there. That's the only one little caveat. It was something I adopted in the early days of having to edit videos in-house instead of doing it on the YouTube video editor. And it just is. It's not a problem with this machine or the other one. It's just something with the software. And there is no solving that. And they're not going to be of any support either. They're saying, they're going to say, oh, that is no longer supported. It's shit like that. So anyway, otherwise it works. I don't know why the Game of Life doesn't run now. I'll have to look into that, but again, it's not really a big deal. The chances are she's not going to play it anyway, but she did want it installed, and it did install, it did work, and I showed it to her, so I'll work on that probably when I transfer the data over. Otherwise, that's going to do it for this one. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Make sure you click like, make sure you click subscribe, and take care. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.